So our goal when I say we want to be like G2 is to not be the North American team that does it for a split or does it for a year. I want to be the North American team that does it for, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Yeah.
That's what my goal is, and that's what I want my legacy to be.
Today was Team Liquid's entrance in the LCS summer playoffs, and the team just took down 100 Thieves 3-0 in a very convincing fashion. And I am in the presence of the team's head coach, Spawn, after this impressive match. So, I mean, Spawn, first of all, like, how does it feel to take down your opponents at like such a strong, a strong showing, right? And like securing the at least like minimum third place in the LCS now, and I mean you're going to Worlds as well. It's a big thing, right? How do you feel after all that?
Yeah, obviously feel really good. Coming into the matchup, we knew we had to take 100 Thieves really seriously. They're a very scrappy team. We like to play the game clean. So if they got to dictate the pace of the game, who knows what would have happened. But to be able to come out and play our brand of League of Legends, kind of enforce our will in the game and make worlds, means that the first objective for the split is done. We wanted to get back to international competition. We're there now. Then we can focus all of our effort on winning LCS.
And I'm pretty sure I saw that locally you are like on a 12 series win streak. The last time you lost was in the spring playoffs against FlyQuest, I believe. So I mean, it's been pure dominance ever since you guys like, because like you started the year with like a bit of a slump, like you were fourth place, I believe, in the group stage, and then like since then you've been completely popping off. You're looking like the best team in NA, even at like MSI, EWC, it was pretty decent. You took some games away from T1 and stuff. So, how does it feel like to be this dominant locally? And I mean, do you feel confident about the chances of the team going into Worlds as well in a few weeks from now?
Look, I didn't even know we were that dominant. So thanks for the stats. That's one to share with the boys over dinner tonight. But obviously, we just take every week as it comes. I don't think we're looking too much ahead to Worlds. Like, there's some aspirational goals we have, but really, we need to focus now on beating C9 and showing that we're the best NA team. Securing that side selection for the upper bracket final. Honestly, the way you stay number one is you train like you're number two. So, you probably see my facial expressions and stuff like that. But the better we play, like sometimes the more unhappy I look. Because it's like I know I got to find stuff for us to work on, keep us humble. That's when everything's going great. That's when your real work as a coach really starts.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to focus on that. Keep us humble, make sure that we're training like we're number two, make sure that we're not skipping steps, cutting corners. Because I know that the difference between the best team in the LCS, which I think we are now, and being that fourth place team, that shit team that people were calling for roster swaps is it's not that far away. So we got to make sure that we just keep working.
Yeah, it's something I think the casters were actually laughing about a bit, because every time there's like a coach cam that is shown on the LCS stream, you see like Rainover or other coaches that are always like popping off, and they're always happy when they're good plays. But for you, it's very hard to even like make you smile and stuff, and you're always very serious, right?
Yeah, we actually have a joke that whenever Rainover's happy, I'm like really upset. And then on the plays that like Rainover's unhappy about, I'm normally laughing about because it's like when Rainover's unhappy, it means we're doing something like really obviously silly. Whereas when I'm unhappy, it's like, we probably won the fight, but like the execution just wasn't as crisp as I wanted it or something like that. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that's why you probably see my facial reaction. Like, I'm really looking at like the minute details of the things we're doing and just making sure that like we're playing to our standard, not just like winning because the other team's kind of trolling a little bit.
And recently, I mean, there's been a lot of talks about NA versus EU. I think, especially APA, obviously, is very well known for yapping in interviews and other stuff. So, I mean, I just want to ask you, like, what is your current opinion on the strength of NA compared to EU, but also other regions in general? Like, do you think that other teams like Cloud9, FlyQuest, or whoever else is going to qualify for Worlds are also capable of taking on other teams from other regions?
So I actually think what happened is when we went to MSI and EWC, we got a really good read on the meta and we kind of mastered it.
Hmm.
And even though that didn't show necessarily at those two events, we brought a lot of it back to NA. And then I think the scrims have been like pretty high quality lately. And I will say that we're getting pushed by, the likes of C9. So I think that that kind of elevated NA. I think that what happened is G2 have such a unique style that it's hard for other European teams to take much from G2. So it kind of looks like G2 sits at the top and doesn't really get pushed all that much. And then other teams have to kind of figure it out themselves. I will say that I'm a big fan of Fnatic. Like, actually, I haven't made any secret of it. Like, I think Noah's like one of my favorite players. He's like actually pretty clean 80 carry
Hmm.
at times. So when I look at the standard of Europe. I think that the top two teams are still pretty good, but I just think the level up in NA has been bigger than the level up of Europe, which is why people are talking about it. Because I think that maybe a year, 18 months ago, it would have been heavily one-sided. I think that since the level up in NA, not just us, FlyQuest, C9, a couple of the other teams as well, we've started to look better and more competitive. So, I mean, I'm not like my players. I don't think we're going to go internationally and just completely clap these guys, but I do think our meta read is really good at the moment. I think that's all three top teams, and I think that now when we go internationally, we can do damage, and that's what you want. Like as one of the, Europe or North America, you don't want to go into Worlds MSI and just think it's doomed.
Yeah.
That's just a holiday. But you want to be able to go there and be like, oh, maybe we can. And then, you get T1 and it doesn't feel so bad. Last year it's like God has abandoned us. This year it's like, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll win one game, maybe we'll win two games. We'll see.
It's funny because you're talking about like especially the top two teams in the LEC, and I hear you mentioning Fnatic and G2. But right now, you've probably seen it, but there's been a rise with Mad Lions Koi, especially in the
Yeah,
LEC.
Mad are such a funny team, aren't they?
Yeah.
I can't take these guys serious though because they just draft so much random stuff. So, I like watching them play as a fan. Like as a fan, you sit there, you watch a Mad game, you're entertained for like 5 hours on end. But is this team actually good? I have no idea how to break down what they're doing in the game. To be honest, it looks like Alyoya and four friends running around and just like kind of having some fun, and then it looks so funny. So yeah, I like that team so much.
Yeah.
Frescowy in the mid lane when he was playing Tristana today, and he had that crazy insect play in the bottom lane. Like, man, what a mad scientist. That was so funny.
Yeah. I mean, do you think like Team Liquid would actually be like not scared, but like a bit puzzled facing them, like going into Worlds, for example? Like, do you know how you would be playing
Yeah.
against them, for example?
I mean, we would treat them the exact same way we treat 100 Thieves today. It's like if they get the game on their terms, yeah, we're probably going to be like super dizzy, like running around the map trying to chase these guys, and play against an Italy top or something. But
Mm.
if we get an early lead or we get a good lane swap or something like this, and then we can control the pace of the game, I think that would find the game quite difficult to play. But there's no doubt that like it's actually hard to play against unorthodox League of Legends at time, and I think our Mad are doing a really good job of that at the moment. As I said, super entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
As a coach, sometimes I dread like turning on a stream, like watching a team that just plays slow and methodically, because it's like, yeah, sure, this is useful, I get something out of this, but what turning on Mad is like, I probably don't want my players to do any of the things they're doing, but
Mm.
God, it's funny.
Yeah, and a thing that has stuck to with me like since the last time we've talked is that I remember you were very vocal about wanting to become the G2 of NA. You wanted
Hmm.
to equal G2 and be able to say that Team Liquid was like that team in NA that like you had to fear and like that was able to actually shake other teams, especially Eastern teams internationally and stuff. But recently we've seen G2 underperform a lot in EU as well, and even though you still consider them to be top two, where do you think like you stand in that goal at the moment? Do you think that you are actually making a good, a good job like getting to that level of becoming the G2 of NA, or do you think you've actually already like surpassed that even?
I don't think we surpassed that. I think that people are looking at the G2 slump at the moment and probably overanalyzing it. They've had a really long year.
Hmm.
We know that going to MSI, coming back, then EWC, and you guys play like 3 splits as well, which is kind of crazy amount of games.
Yeah.
So I would assume there's a little bit of burnout, and then they're just probably taking it a little bit easy, and then they're going to kick it into gear because they already qualified for Worlds.
Yeah.
But in saying that, what I really like is when I hear interviews from like Fly or C9 and they say, we could be the second best, but probably the team to beat at the moment is TL. That kind of feels like how teams in Europe used to talk about G2.
Yeah.
So I think that we're on our way there. But as I said, it's the thing about G2 is that it's not like they have done it for a year. It's like they have been that team in Europe for what? How long ago did Caps get there? 4 or 5 years. Like it was a super long time ago, I think. So our goal when I say we want to be like G2 is to not be the North American team that does it for a split or does it for a year. I want to be the North American team that does it for, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Yeah.
That's what my goal is, and that's what I want my legacy to be. So, as I said, that's why when I look at the game, I am kind of serious because even though it's great now, I don't want it to be great now. I want it to be great for like 18 months.
I believe that is about all the time we have for the interview today, but do you have anything you want to say to the fans of Team Liquid or anyone that follows you in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say shout out to the fans. When we play badly, you guys kept us motivated. When we're playing well, you guys like motivate us to go even further. And then, if we slip up, you kind of keep us humble as well. So I love our fans. Thank you to our sponsors, especially to Honda at the moment. They're doing everything they can to make sure that we're powered through to victory. And then thank you to my beautiful partner, Jenna, two boys, Henry and Jasper. I love them so much. Everything I do is to make sure that they have a good life. So yeah, shout out to my family.
Perfect. Well, Spawn, in any case, thank you so much for talking with me today. It's fun to see Team Liquid keep on performing, at least like locally right now. And hopefully you guys will have a great showing at Worlds as well. In any case, thank you. Maybe I'll see you in Berlin for the Swiss stage. And yeah, for now, have a good night and see you again soon.
Thank you so much. We'll get a beer in Berlin, my friend.
Perfect. Have a good night.